Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Christian Music Bro podcast. I'm Brendan, and this is Braden.
Welcome to the podcast, everyone.
Thank you again for tuning in with us. We're now 10 subscribers away from 100. So if you like our podcast, remember to like, follow, subscribe to our podcast, share it with your friends. We also have a cool giveaway going on our Instagram page, so make sure to check that out. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to email us christianmusicbrospodcast@gmail.com and just reach out to us. Today we have a guest star with us again. I'm surprised you guys are probably not surprised anymore, but it's not Nemo. I promise it's not Nemo today, but it's Anna Pearson. So please welcome Anna.
Thank you all so much for having me. Yeah, it's great to get to talk with you.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So we're just going to start off with a nice and easy question. Can you give us a little bit about your background, like how you got into music and where you come from and everything?
Yeah, for sure. So I was born and raised in Nashville. Well, Music City is my stomping grounds. Yeah, I think just growing up in that kind of like super creative, music-centered environment, I fell in love with music at a very early age. I was probably like 8 years old when I started playing guitar and writing songs just kind of for fun. And as I got older, I started writing kind of more like storytelling, life, like reflective kind of songs. And I played a lot with my mom in a duo all around town and like around the Southeast growing up. So that got me a lot of experience just like playing music in front of people and connecting with them. And that's where I really started seeing just the power of a song and its ability to connect with people. And then and I've always kind of been like kind of a quiet person and just kind of quiet natured, but music has always been my connection point with people and just being able to tell stories that I might not have told otherwise. And but then kind of fast forwarding into high school, I started listening to just really great Christian songwriters, like Matthew West is one that comes to mind. And I just started listening to these writers and how they told stories. And like I remember going to this, I don't know, it was like a live taping of Matthew West, like Into the Light album. I remember at that point I had only heard Strong Enough by him, and I just remember like that whole concert, I was bawling, just like listening to these songs and hearing how he took people's testimonies and stories and then turned them into like an offering to the Lord. And that's where my heart for Christian songwriting kind of ignited. And I tiptoed around like the creative side of the business and then just the business side of music. But the past, I don't know, year and a half or so, I've just kind of gone full send into the creative side, and it's been such a fun adventure, and I don't know where it's heading, but I'm just jumping along with it, and it's so much fun.
Yeah, that's very cool. And like, I'm just seeing you've been doing a few festivals. You've been around here for some festivals. Sorry, I don't know what happened. My thing muted itself,
No,
but
it's good.
you've been around a few festivals here. You've been to around me. I know you were at a big ticket festival, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
So can you tell us a little bit like how has life been on the road for you? Like where have you been? Anything coming up?
Yeah. So I don't know, my heart is really for live music. There's something I think that's so special about, and especially like festivals, because I'm a big outdoorsy fan too. So just being outside and being able to worship the Lord with a group of people, I've always thought that that's just like a little tap into heaven.
Mhm.
And so anywhere I get to play live, that's always so special. And but this summer I've played some music festivals and some like local festivals and events. And I also lead worship at my church and just some churches around town. So playing as much as I can, as much as people will let me. So
Are you still located in Nashville?
I'm actually in Chattanooga now. So hopefully I haven't turned in my native Nashvilleian card, but all my family is still up that way. So I go up there quite a bit. Yeah.
Right, and you have anything you want to tag in?
Yeah. Well, first off, I love that you're born and raised in Nashville because I'm also, for those who don't know, Brendan's in Michigan and I'm born and raised in Nashville, currently living there as well.
Oh,
So,
nice. Look at
oh
us
yeah,
native Nashvilleians. We're like unicorns down here.
definitely. Another thing I wanted to ask was from living in Nashville, seeing so much in the music scene, how has that affected like your songwriting, you think, especially you mentioned Matthew West, and that concert, like Into the Light, was a landmark album for me getting into becoming a fan of Christian music. So I'm curious to know, like, what have you gone through with Nashville, seeing music, hearing it, that's affected your songwriting?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think, well, like I said, just being in that environment, it's kind of something you can only explain once you've experienced it. And
Mhm.
I'm sure both y'all have, just being surrounded by that energy of creativity and going to these venues where people are telling their story. And honestly, I've been so inspired by just going to different music venues around town and hearing people that just tell their story through song. I think that's really the heart of Nashville is that storytelling and yeah, people telling their hearts. And yeah, I don't know, I think just going to different venues and hearing so many different amazing music.
Do you have a favorite venue in Nashville? This is just a random side question. Do you have a favorite
Oh,
venue in Nashville?
um I would say like Third and Lindsley is probably my favorite, to just like listen to music and really be able to interact with whoever's on stage. And I don't know, that's always been one of my favorites.
Brad, do you know that place?
I've heard of it, but I've not been there yet.
Oh, nice. You'll have to check it out. It's a good one.
Definitely.
Have you been to Nashville, Brennan?
I'm actually going in February. I'm coming for my birthday, and I'm going to be spending the week with Brad, and
Nice. That's awesome.
so
That's awesome.
it'll be
Mhm.
like my first time. Like I've been through it, obviously, and I was there for 4th of July, like back in like 2014, 2015 when I was on a mission trip. I've never like been in it, so like I've been through like the outskirts, basically.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
You'll have to see some live music while you're there. It's just constant, like day and night, all the time.
Oh
That's
yeah.
what I hear. So you have a couple singles out. Can you talk us about a little bit about those? Any projects you're working on, EP wise, album wise, anything in general of that ballgame?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I started out releasing some kind of like Americana stuff, and a lot of it is about my husband. So if you hear that out there, that's what that is about. And then my two like Christian singles I released, really they're just kind of the heartbeat of what I want my music to be about going forward. Just having that, like especially Reflection, I wanted that to be my first single, because it's really just a prayer that I pray over all of my music, and all that I do is just wanting it to reflect the Lord's love and the grace that I've been given, the love that I've been shown. And that's just kind of been the foundation for a lot of my music moving forward. And Power Again, it's kind of a similar story, where it's just really a prayer that came to me at a time when there were just a lot of changes in my life going on, and just inviting the Lord's power into my life. And that can be a scary thing to pray, I feel like, just because you might not necessarily like the answer or what he wants to do, but it's all in his will. And just not being afraid to pray that prayer and
Mhm.
let him use your life as you want to.
Brandon, you want to segue?
Yeah. So like you said, your two songs came out, which I think we first discovered you with your song Reflections, loved it. And then
Thank
both of them were just so good. But I really want to know, like, are these two singles, are they leading up to a certain project, or are they just, standalone things, like you said, foundation for your music, which again, amazing songs, but is this
you.
transparent to a bigger project story, or is this like just singles?
Yeah, well, first, thank you for listening. Seriously, that means so much. And I feel like just as a songwriter, music means even more when it means something to someone else. So just thank you for listening and for saying that. And um, I am working towards releasing an EP, probably maybe like beginning of next year, and I'll have another single off that EP releasing maybe like October and November of this year. Yeah, I'm just hopefully working into like a full length album next year. I've been writing a lot and just gone through a lot of life changes. My husband and I got married, we graduated from college and like moved to a different city, and all of the story that kind of comes out of that, and just how the Lord is growing my faith through that journey. And I love albums that tell a story throughout, and that's kind of what I'm working towards.
Love that.
And And for those who are listening, if you haven't checked out any of Anna's music, you can find her probably on everything like we've listed before: Spotify, Amazon, maybe a cassette tape. I don't know. Who knows?
Hey, there might be one of them out there somewhere.
I have a rare cassette tape from Matthew West, so that's the only reason why I thought of it.
Nice, nice.
But so if you guys have the chance, like, follow, subscribe to her music, listen to her music, tell us what you think. Be nice, please. No hate in the comments.
I can take it. It's all right. Thanks.
Do you have any shows coming up for anyone that wants to see you live, or any gigs coming up?
Yeah, I've got some kind of like local festivals that I'm playing this fall. And I'll be adding more events as time goes on, but I usually keep my website, annapearsonmusic.com. I keep that updated with events for the fall. But yeah, just excited to get out and play live more this fall, and hopefully some more festivals next year. And yeah, love it.
Brad, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah. So you mentioned, of course, Matthew West, and I remember reading your bio. I think you mentioned I Am They as well as another inspiration. Are there any other musical inspirations that have really catered towards your sound? Because like it's a little like I can see your influence in it. It's modern still. It's got worship vibe, but it's also got that, like you said, folk sound a little bit, which love that. So is there any other inspirations there that you've really taken from?
Yeah, I'd say like We the Kingdom has been a big influence for me, just because they've got that kind of rootsy, a little bit of a Americana
Hmm.
kind of influence. So I love their style and their writing as well. I guess like I don't know, I'm a big Blessing Offer fan too. His sound and his writing is just incredible. So that's who I've really been listening to a lot recently. And Phil Wickham, just incredible lyricist, and I just love people who have very biblically rooted songs, but can say things maybe in a fresh way or in a new way. And it's just I love all those artists and listening to new music.
All those
Very
great
cool.
artists are cool, and they have their own unique style to them, which is really cool too.
For sure, yeah.
We have a few extra minutes. We like to give the floor to our guests. So, do you have anything you want to bring up, discuss, and the floor is yours.
Um, can I ask y'all a question? Is that okay? I do like a reverse interview.
Here.
I just I was just curious what started you guys' passion for Christian music. Was there like a specific song or a concert that you went to, or just love to hear that too.
I think my first emerging from it personally is when I was in youth group in like sixth grade. They're like, we're going to Winter Jam, and that's like when I first got merged. So it was a year. I think Newsboys headlined it, so it was like 2011 and 2010, somewhere around there. It was like Newsboys, Cutlass, and like Sidewalk Prophets and everything. It's like right when Sidewalk Prophets was like opening up, and they still had Nick Hall as a speaker.
Oh,
So,
nice,
so
nice.
that's like when I first got immersed into it.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
For me, it would be more so like I was always a fan of music, but I never really got to know it too well until artists like Matthew S. Sound Into the Light completely it changed my life. And then I also went to a Newsboy show, which really invested me into what concerts are. And I just got so caught up with all of it, just hearing the message told in a fresh way and just styles that whether slow or whether upbeat, but in such fresh ways, I loved it. It encountered me, changed my life, and it's really helped me draw closer to God and others. And music, it's such a powerful tool that I think for all of us, whether it's our time with God, whether it's personally with others, it's just such a powerful tool. So that's how music, Christian music, has especially affected my life, and very thankful for it.
And that's kind of how Brad and I met in a way too. So
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Wow, that's beautiful. I was just curious, and yeah, just thank y'all for starting this whole platform, because I think it's such a beautiful thing to have these kind of conversations. And I think it's so easy to see someone on a stage or on a platform, just almost put them on like a pedestal in your mind and kind of separate the humanness, but just seeing the whole picture of musicians, and especially musicians that are just getting started, it gives such a voice to them to see to hear their story and hear their heart for the Lord, and it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
I think I've said this almost every episode, Brad. So I apologize if you guys are listening. Like, big one of the premises of this podcast, we started off diving into albums, and we were doing track by track, every album coming up with like a story or a theme. Then we segued into a couple guest stars. We had them talk about their EP or album, because we go like track by track with like Sean B and a couple others.
We did for a few, yeah.
Yeah. Then we went to themes. So like we met with Trevor Tyson, the host of Trevor Talks, and we did like overcoming anxiety. Or then we had our I came up with Christian Music Jeopardy one week, and we just did that for a week. So but then we had like human trafficking awareness with like David Zack of Remedy Drive.
Oh
And now,
yeah.
but whenever we have a guest star, we just like to hear their stories. Like it's just cool to like you're now in like you get to hear their personal journey, and then we can help share support that way. And it just shows like, oh, this is a musician. Now I know a little bit more about them.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I always love seeing, because just hearing someone's song is kind of one level, but then going beyond that and hearing the whole story and their heart, it adds so much more meaning to their songs and their music and all that they do. So
And it puts name with a face, a name with a face. Like, oh, I know this song, but I don't know the singer, who they are. So
yeah, exactly. I loved, and I've listened to some of y'all's shows, and it's so much fun getting to just to hear people's hearts and just fun stories about things. So it's really cool.
awesome. Again, thank you for joining us. I know this isn't that most like casual interview, just because Zoom's so convenient. So it's nice, just like Zoom's a tool now they use and everything. So thank you for
Oh,
taking
it's
some.
great. It's a great, I mean, like, if you're in Michigan, we're in Tennessee, like it's cool to be able to span distance and still get to communicate and talk. So
Exactly. And I'm actually under the sea right now, actually, technically. So,
yeah, hey, not even in Michigan with Nemo.
but thanks again to everyone that tuned into our podcast. Again, check out Anna's music, check out our podcast, like, follow, subscribe. We have a giveaway. 100 subscriber on YouTube wins a free copy of a book, and we're also giving away to another copy on our Instagram. So stay tuned for details there. Until next time, everyone, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you then.